So we're at the FT Festival of Finance. I'm Brian Caplen, editor of The Banker. I'm with Gerard Lyons, who's an economist and a pro-Brexit economist at that. So Gerard, the UK has now voted to leave the European Union. The markets were certainly in a bit of turmoil immediately. The pound's fallen and everybody's talking about a recession. I mean, do you buy into that negativity?
No. Well, markets naturally were taken by surprise. Markets, we know from the past, don't like uncertainty. They also tend to overreact, and also they're very short term in their focus. There was no doubt in my mind that Brexit was a positive economic development for the UK, but even ahead of the referendum vote, I was saying that it would be like an economic shock, in the sense there might be an initial period of uncertainty, a loss of confidence. And what we're seeing at the moment is that confidence factor being hit. I think what we really need to see is a period of political stability and then clarity about policy, followed by the right policy actions. But it should be said that in the global context, the world economy was already looking fragile. The UK economy was already slowing, not because of Brexit. And a month ago at the G7 meeting in Japan, the focus was on the need to move away from monetary policy to other areas of policy to help global growth. But what we're seeing here in the UK in the very near term is the Bank of England is acting in a stabilising way. So I'm not overly pessimistic. I think there will be some adjustment in the near term and the economy will slow. I think a recession can be avoided with the right policy actions.
Okay. Now, obviously, the financial sector is really concerned that they're going to lose their passporting rights. So, because it's going to be very, very difficult negotiation, and the deal's going to be, if you want access to the single market and your passporting rights, you've got to have free movement of people, and that's unacceptable politically. So, I mean, what's your sort of message to the financial sector?
Well, in terms of the message to the financial sector is to not panic and recognise that London has always done well in the past by being very pragmatic. Now the referendum has been decided, I think what we need to do is invoke Article 50, we need to invoke the will of the people, and basically to position both London and the UK economy generally to do well in the global economy. So what we need to recognise for the city is that 17 years ago when we had the debate about the euro, the competition was with Amsterdam, Paris, Frankfurt. Now the competition is really global, and being outside of the EU really should help London to position itself globally. But in the very near term, the two issues are passporting and euro clearing. Now passporting was always recognised as a challenge. It needs to be negotiated. It's a two-way issue, in the sense 75 banks from the EEA era passport into London. But also an important safety valve is in 2018, MiFID II comes into effect, and equivalence is an issue then, almost becomes as important as passporting, and that's an important safety valve because London is undoubtedly regulatory equivalent, which will allow businesses in London to continue to operate across the EEA area.
Okay, but there has been some speculation that politics could get in the way of that, and sort of competitors like France could sort of try to undermine equivalence in the way they can't do with single market access.
Yeah. Well, one has to remember, if we had stayed in the EU, we faced lots of big problems in terms of the inability to control the regulatory agenda and a whole host of other issues. We start to free ourselves from those, but at the same time, you're correct, we have other challenges. These are near-term challenges that need to be addressed, and we can't run away from them. I think what one has to say is, speaking to some of the international banks over the last week, opinions vary. It depends on their business model, but there really is no other financial centre in Western Europe that has the infrastructure, the skills, the ability to compete with London. So we're talking about niche other centres that might have skills in certain areas.
Okay, well, let's finish on a positive then. Yeah. So what do you see as the upside for London as a financial centre now we're outside the European Union?
Well, the upside is that finance is becoming truly global, and the upside is that London is really well positioned in Western Europe, notwithstanding the near-term challenges, and that London outside the European Union should be able to continue to be a good place to do business in and a good place to do business from, particularly in terms of not just the EU, but the whole global economy. The growth of the RMB business, the growth of Islamic finance, and recognising that the growth centres of the world economy are increasingly in the Asia-Pacific, Indo-Pacific region, and recognising at the same time that our competition is New York, Singapore, Hong Kong, and I think we will be better able and better equipped to compete with them.
Gerard, thanks very much. We hope you're right.
Pleasure. Thank you.